Hello everyone, thank you for joining us for Kids Helpline's largest anti-bullying lesson, Parent Care and Teacher Edition. My name is Hannah, I am the Program Manager of the Kids Helpline School Program, and Kim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Kim Harper, I'm the Program Manager of Parentline.
We are connecting with you today to share with you some information that we know from working on the front lines, supporting both students and parents and young people with this topic of bullying. Hopefully you find today's lesson really interesting and engaging. Because it is a pre-recorded video, feel free to take it at your own pace and pause it, do it in chunk-sized pieces, grab yourself a cuppa, whatever you need, feel free to do that. But as you see on the screen, there's also a content warning. There will be some statistics shared today, specifically about themes of suicide. So take care of yourself as you go today and tread lightly. Where we always like to begin is by doing an acknowledgement of country. So here at both Kids Helpline, Parentline, and our wider company, Your Town, we want to take the moment to recognise and acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia who care and have walked on and have taken care of this land, waterways and skies, and we recognise their deep spiritual connection to the land and their waterways, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. So a little bit about today. Where we thought we would start off is exploring some of the insights and some of the things that we really would hope to share in this video. So if there was one thing as a Kids Helpline counsellor that I would want to share with people when it comes to the topic of bullying, is that it's never too early or too late to act. We share that with young people all the time, that it's always okay to speak up about what's going on, and it's always okay not to be sure about what to do. So yeah, never too early or too late. That's what we tell young people. But what about you, Kim? What would be your number one message?
My number one message to get out of this for parents would be, look, unfortunately, we can't protect our children from bad things happening. And it can be really hard. It can be really scary when we hear that our child is hurting. But what we can do is we can focus on creating a really open, connected, supportive relationship with our child. This will always allow them to be heard, to feel seen, to feel empowered. So this helps them not only navigate really hard things that might be happening to them with this amazing team member of their parent standing behind them, but it can also help mitigate consequences of some of these bad things as well, like supporting our children's mental health and their own kind of sense of self and self-confidence.
Oh, I love that. And I think that is a really good message for people to know and take on board. And I know that's something that definitely as Kids Helpline counsellors we hold and we try to practice as well when we're supporting young people. We've got a couple of statistics here on the screen that you just saw, and feel free to go back to them if you're curious. But on the topic of bullying, we often talk to young people about bullying. It's one of the most searched things on our website that we hear from young people, so they are wanting to learn about it. They are wanting to know, and it is a reality, unfortunately, for a lot of young people, no matter what age they are, whether it's in school, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's online. It's something that a lot of young people face. And we actually asked the question to young people themselves. We put on our social media a bit of a poll, and we said to them, if you were needing to talk, if something was going on and you were in trouble or you needed support, who would you go to? And we actually found that 67%, so most, didn't list their parents as being someone they found would be a trustworthy support or someone that they would go to. So that was kind of our exploration. That's what we found. And Kim, I thought I'd throw it to you to hear your insights.
Look, a lot of the parents that we hear from in regarding bullying, when they call Parentline, understandably, they're usually pretty overwhelmed. They're usually looking for a lot of help, but they're often really worried, scared. We get a lot that are feeling really helpless. So they tend to have kind of a big emotional reaction. And I think that's probably part of the reason I think kids might be a little worried about going to their parents. It is a really normal thing to have that emotional reaction, like I said earlier, when we know our kids are hurting. But it potentially might be a bit of a barrier as well for why they're not coming to us.
Definitely. And what I want our listeners to know is just because young people didn't name maybe a parent as one of their supports, they did name a lot of supports. So help seeking is something that we hear a lot about at Kids Helpline, and we often hear that young people, their number one support that we often hear about is their friends and their peer community and networks. But we always encourage young people to chat to their parents and to chat to their carers if they can, because we know that you are such an incredible lifeline within their life, and that's why we really encourage that as a service. So let's jump in a bit further. So Kim, I know you mentioned when we were talking and preparing about today, you mentioned the word of it's time to normalize immediate emotional reactions. Can you share with me what that means?
Absolutely. So I want to acknowledge, like I said before, it is incredibly normal for parents having this emotional reaction when they hear that something is hurting their child. And we know that feelings can flood us in that kind of instance. We kind of go into an automatic mode when we're flooded with that kind of emotion. So I want to acknowledge that sometimes as well, emotions can also lead us to do the opposite as well. So if we're really kind of upset about something, it can also kind of cause us to maybe dismiss or also close down conversations around hard things as well. So there's a lot of different ways that kind of that flooding of emotion might actually look like in the first instance. But as Hannah told us earlier, we are hearing that kids aren't talking to their parents. Not a lot of kids are talking to their parents. What we're kind of seeing in regards to some more specifics around that is they don't want to worry their parents as well. They're worried that their parents will do something, that they're going to go straight into kind of fix-it mode. They might go straight to the child in question. They might go straight to the school when the child isn't ready for that to happen yet. We're also hearing that parents may start asking their kids lots of questions, and I think it's important to know that sometimes kids won't have the answer to that question, or they might not be, I guess, ready to share it. Another thing that we kind of see a lot is that kind of immediate reaction to want to protect our kids can sometimes lead to this perception of the child being punished. And we tend to see this a little bit, especially in kind of the online space. That kind of fear will lead us to be like, well, we're taking this phone, or that fear will lead us to want to, throw that iPad right away. And for children, that is a punishment on top of what they're already experiencing as well. So a lot of the reasons that they're telling us, like I said earlier, are linked to these kinds of emotional responses. So I want to slow down for a second, and I want to talk about how we can do something about that, if that's okay.
Definitely.
Awesome. So we're going to give some guidance around what we can do when children come to us first and they tell us about something that's going on at school, a bullying incident, something that might have been going on for a longer period of time. And we also are going to talk about what about when we as parents notice that something might be wrong with our kids? How do we bring this up? How do we broach this subject with our kids as well? Alrighty. Firstly, let's get started and talk about our kids coming to us. So this is usually when we might feel those feelings kind of flood us. Why? Because we weren't expecting the conversation. When a conversation comes out of left field and it is emotionally triggering, it's pretty hard to try and catch those kinds of feelings when they're happening. So first things first, we have time. When our kids are coming to us, we have time. So we want to give it the time that it deserves. So we want to try and slow it down. We want to listen. First and foremost, we want to listen, and then we want to listen some more as well. We want to try and connect with our kids first and foremost. There might be a chance that our child has been kind of holding on to this information for a little while, thinking about telling us. So we want to kind of let them get it all out. Let them get it all out, and you will kind of feel that emotional release from them as well. Hug them. Focus on that connection with them. I want to really stress though, I'm not saying that we're not going to show our emotions. We want to be aware of our emotions though. It's really, like I said, it's really normal for us to have that fear. It's okay for us to show that we're worried. It's okay for us to show that we're scared. It's being aware about that and how that might affect the interaction that we're having with our child. We want to give them the space to tell us what they want to tell us. We want to gently explore that as well. So gently kind of asking questions about it, but we don't want to interview them. We don't want to instantly jump to solutions as well. When we see our kids hurting, we want to fix it. It's such a normal reaction to have when we see our kids hurting. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to stop you feeling like that. But again, we listen. We connect. We want to empower them in that space. I really love this analogy that we use at Parentline a lot, that parents are kind of like their child's best bench player on the sporting team. So when kids are struggling, I want them to pick when they pull us off the bench. And that might not be at all. So if our child is coming to us and talking to us and us listening and helping them organize and understand what potentially is going on, it's okay for them to say, I just wanted to talk to you about it, but I think I'm going to try these things. That's awesome. We're going to support that. Or it might be that they're really struggling and they really want us to kind of jump into the game straight away. So it's up to our kids to pick when we come off the bench and support them. We want to ask them what they want to do about it. They have ideas about what they want to do about it. And whatever they want to do about that, we're going to be right there beside them as a team. We're going to work out the next step together. And this is an ongoing conversation depending on how that progresses with our kids as well. So that's kind of the starting point that we want to try and look at. But ultimately, the message is listen, connect, and empower our kids in that space. So what about when we think something might be going on? We might have seen a shift in behavior. Maybe they're a little withdrawn at the moment, or are struggling to want to go to school, or they've had kind of friendship changes that we've picked up on. It can look different depending on the child, but parents know their children best. So if they're seeing kind of changes, how do we kind of broach that? So these conversations allow us to prepare. We get to kind of be a little bit more in control because we're not hearing that information straight away and then dealing with that emotional reaction. However, it's important to know, depending on what our kids say during these conversations, we might still get that flooding of emotion as well. So we want to open it up. We're going to ask them if everything is okay. It's okay to say, I noticed that you don't seem yourself. And I guess I just wanted to remind you that I'm here. Whenever you need, I'm on your team. And I'm here to listen. And that might be all, depending on what kind of comes up in that conversation as well. So the overarching message is the same. I'm here, I'm listening, I'm on your team. You're in charge of your team, but I'm always on your team.
That is awesome, Kim. Thank you so much for all of that wonderful knowledge. And I know when Kim and I were preparing for this, we actually talked about a lot of the similarities between how we approach our counselling sessions as Kids Helpline counsellors and the advice and recommendation Kim gives to parents. So a little bit of insights on what we notice with young people, and there's a lot of studies backing this up. If you look at young people and their development and what they're needing through different stages of their life, we've broken it down into 3 bite-sized pieces of what young people need to really thrive and to grow. It's young people want and need in all of those moments, but particularly when something's going on, they need to feel seen, they need to feel heard, and they need to feel supported. And this can happen in a lot of different ways. I'll share you some insights into how we do it as Kids Helpline counsellors if you're ever curious about what might happen if your young person's phoning Kids Helpline and talking about these things. So when we say feel seen, it's all about giving that young person control and being able to go, I understand what's going on. It's us taking the time to learn from the young person. And that's something that we take into every one of our sessions. We are not the expert of that young person. They are. So we take a bit of a back seat and we allow that young person to share what's going on for them, what their strategies are, what they've tried, and what they want to do moving forward. It kind of links into that second one, to feel heard. It's that idea of taking the time to listen, and listening without judgment, listening without knowing the answer already or knowing the solution and just waiting to jump in. It's about truly just being there and being present, holding space for that conversation, but taking the time to listen and taking the time for silence. That's something we do a lot as counsellors, is allow for silence, because we know in silence it allows the mind to slow down, it allows young people to really turn on their prefrontal cortex and make rational, level-headed decisions, being able to problem solve in those moments. It allows them to think critically about what they might want to do or what they have tried or what they want to do moving forward. To feel supported is feeling like someone is in their corner, feeling like someone is ready to tag in if they need it. It's that idea of, I hear what's going on for you and I want to help. But it's wanting to help in the way that works for that young person. That's how we provide support. But throwing back to you, Kim, do you have anything else to add to this idea of what would it look like as a parent to allow young people to feel seen, heard, and supported?
Look, I think it's really interesting how little differences there are between what you're talking about and how we support parents to do the exact same thing for their kids. And I guess just kind of adding to that, it's that feeling of not being alone. You know, not being alone in distress is such a powerful space. Knowing that this is going to be an ongoing space, you need to kind of continue to talk about it. It's not a one-off conversation. It's, as a team, bouncing off whatever challenges are going to come forward as you go forward with that issue as well, whether or not that's working with the school, whether or not that's advocating for your child. I guess it's that ongoing kind of space.
Awesome. So breaking it down a little bit further, I know that we talked about how to achieve those things. Breaking it down into really tangible, easy steps that you can walk away with is step 1, communicating as a team. So I kind of went into it a little bit before about how we do this. It's that whole idea of working together, coming up with a collaborative solution and giving the young person the lead. Kim, do you have anything else you want to add to this idea of communicating as a team and the role parents can play?
Exactly what you said. It's like that, the fact that the child is the captain, we're the bench player. They decide when we come in.
Our second one is there's no such thing as a quick fix. And definitely as a counsellor, I feel this. I wish I had a magic wand to help every young person in Australia. So it's going awesome. You've phoned us, you've contacted us, you've reached out. You're all better. But I know as a counsellor, there is no quick fix. Sometimes for some young people, they just need that one point of support from Kids Helpline and they are okay with that and that's worked for them. But I know with instances such as bullying, such as trauma, such as really deep emotional struggles and issues such as before on the screen, things such as suicidal ideation, there is no quick fix. It is about being present, being available, and being there for the young person when they need it. Being able to be a point for them to reach out to without having that pressure of, okay, when are we talking next? Let's schedule in the calendar. Sometimes for some young people that works, but for us, we really leave it up to the young person going, we will make time and space for you. We will work together and we're here for the long run.
Exactly. I just want to reiterate again what I said at the start of this session. The importance of connection absolutely helps mitigate all those scary things that we think happen and may happen when our children go through something really hard. So while we say there's no quick fix to that solution, and like Hannah and I have both said, it's an ongoing kind of process, know how powerful having that connection and being that place of safety and security and empowerment for your child is incredibly important and incredibly important to their overall well-being, regardless of what they've gone through.
I love that. And to even expand on that idea a little bit more, you're exactly right, Kim. That one conversation can make a huge difference. And that's what we notice here every day at Kids Helpline. We have one-off conversations sometimes, and for a young person, that saves their life. So never underestimate the power of being present, even if it's just for that one moment. Our final one, there is support available just for you. This is something we use a lot here at Kids Helpline when we take on board this idea of how can we be in that space to support young people, because you can only really best support young people if you have the capacity to do it. And so what that looks like is having support options available. For us, we have people that we can go to. We have lots of different supervision in place. We do a lot of professional development. We make sure that we are in our best place to be able to support young people, because if we're not, it's probably not going to be the best value of support, and that young person deserves our 100% full attention. So we always encourage this, and an analogy I always share with teachers and parents and professionals is the idea of the airplane analogy. You've probably heard this lots of times. We say when you're in an airplane, if something happens, they always say, masks will drop down. Make sure you put your own mask on before assisting the person next to you or a child. The same goes with our mental health and our self-care and our well-being. We need to make sure we're prioritizing ourselves so we have capacity. Throwing it over to you, Kim.
Look, and that's why Parentline exists. Like you said, lots of things can affect our capacity, and the emotional responses that we have when we're really worried about our kids and feeling really helpless are so normal. But we parents, we need a team player too. We need someone on our bench that we can call on in when we're really struggling, and having a service like Parentline there to help the parent kind of process what they're feeling, because our role is to really kind of support that parent so they can do all this really hard stuff, because it is hard for their children as well. It's important to know that this is not a linear thing. Having someone over time as whatever we're going through will go up and down. Having a service that you can call when things are feeling a bit down to help build up that capacity in ourselves is so important. Parents deserve to have someone on the bench as well. They deserve that team player. So Parentline, give us a call. We're here to help and here to support you.
And Kim, I'm very aware that this video is probably going to a lot of people that are maybe outside of the space where they can call Parentline for free. So can you share with us a little bit about kind of what states Parentline can use for that phone number we've got on the screen, and what are some other options for our parents that are maybe in different states?
No problem. So there is a Parentline in every state. It might look a little different. The Parentline that I manage covers all of Queensland and all of the Northern Territory, but all the information for every other Parentline is also on parentline.com.au. We're all really supportive of every other state that is doing the same job as us as well. So you can run onto Parentline and you can give us a call any day of the week, 365 days a year, from 6 a.m. to midnight. There'll be a qualified counsellor on the other end, or you can jump on and speak to a counsellor via a web chat as well, which is sometimes a little bit easy, especially when kids are kind of around as well and you might not have the opportunity to talk to someone. But there's all different information on the website as well, so I would absolutely say that that's the best place to go first.
And I know one thing that we commented on really, really earlier was this idea of young people go to their friends and their kind of peer network. We have something similar, don't we, Kim, for parents?
We definitely do. We have My Circle for Parents. So My Circle for Parents is a peer-to-peer support forum. It's a moderated forum, so our counsellors are also in there supporting these kinds of conversations as well. But it's so incredibly beneficial to be able to talk to other parents that are going through, experiencing, figuring out how to navigate systems, sharing ideas, sharing tips. So we created My Circle for Parents as a really safe place to be able to do that.
And what I thought I would add is we've pulled out a couple of different circles that My Circle offers for parents. There's a parent wellbeing, there's family changes and transitions, there's one specifically on bullying, there's online safety, the early years, middle years, later years. So hopefully there's a lot of information there that you can find helpful, and you can join as many or as few of these circles as you want and kind of come and go with whatever's happening for you. I thought I'd share another support avenue, and this is the program that I manage, Kids Helpline at School. So if you found today's chat helpful and you found this type of style really useful, we do this every day with schools live, where we connect into classrooms and it's a counsellor from Kids Helpline, and we run free mental health and wellbeing lessons directly to students. So it's a whole classroom, it's interactive, it's fun, we play games, we do activities, we tailor it to that class, and we have a huge range of content ranging from bullying to online safety to online well-being, respect for relationships, resilience. There's a whole suite on offer, and this might be an avenue that you go down, that you go, wow, bullying is an issue in my school, or bullying is an issue in my kids' school or in my friend's kids' school. You can let them know about our program. There's no strings attached. It's under the same bracket of at Kids Helpline, we believe that every young person deserves support for free. That's why we extend it to schools, because we know that schools are such a big part of young people's identity, their well-being, where they spend a lot of their time. So that's why we wanted to provide that option for schools to care for their mental health in that early intervention way. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they won't ever need to use Kids Helpline. They have those skills already. They have those support options in place and know who they can go to when things get tough. So feel free to scan the QR. Otherwise, there will be some details attached lower in the text of the video. But from here, so if young people were maybe having something going on, there's young people that you know, it might be your kids, it might be a friend's kids, or students in your classroom if you're watching this as a teacher. You're most welcome to share with them that Kids Helpline is there for them anytime, any reason. We're a 24/7 service. We never ever close, and we provide absolutely free counselling support. It is open all day and night, open on the weekends, open on school holidays, every day, every moment. We know that young people can't always choose when they need support, and that's why Kids Helpline exists for every young person in Australia. They can call us up if that's more of their style, but we also have web chat, which is typing back and forth on our website, or we also have, similar to the Parent My Circle, we have a My Circle just for young people aged 12 to 25, where they can go on and connect with the community and share what's going on for them and to learn in that space. But if you are wanting more information, there's heaps on our website, whether that's kidshelpline.com.au or even parentline.com.au. But to revisit what I said at the start, if you're noticing that you've had any difficult feelings or emotions, or you're walking away from this feeling like you need a bit of support, you've got us in your corner. Feel free to tag us in if you ever need, but also know it's okay to have difficult feelings and emotions. Emotions are normal. They're not always comfortable, but they're meant to be felt. But if you're ever feeling like they're getting a little bit much, make sure you do things to take care of yourself and to fill your cup. That's everything from us. Bye.